How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Gianluca, aka Dr. Calcagno, and I'm a first-year family medicine resident currently working and studying here in Canada. Now, here on the channel, I've talked about the Casper test a lot in the past because as time goes on, I've only seen the trend that Casper is becoming more important for a variety of different programs. It's expanding. First, it was just in medical school circles, and now it's in nursing and veterinary school and dentistry and all these other different programs. And I've shared tips, I've gone over breakdowns of the test. But in today's video, what I wanted to do was give you a worked example of how I would answer one of the official practice questions that's up on the Casper website, the Altus Suite website. Now, today's video is actually sponsored by a Casper prep tool called CasperBooster. And one of the things that I love most about CasperBooster is that it's totally free. There's a whole bunch of different resources that you're able to access if you just log on to CasperBooster and check it out for yourself. But we'll talk about that a little bit more in the second half of the video. The first thing that I want to do is get straight to the official question here on the Casper test. We'll watch the video together and then we'll get right into the 3 different questions, and I'll let you know how I would personally answer these types of questions. Now, one thing to note, and we've actually talked about it in some of my previous videos on Casper here on the channel, is that Casper actually provides you with the rubric as to how they mark your questions. They give you the 10 Casper competencies that you should try to incorporate in your answer. So as long as you're following those 10 competencies, one additional thing that I want to say is that my answer that I'm going to be providing here is one of many good answers. You don't necessarily have to copy my answer word for word, but rather this is the appropriate structure that some of your answers might want to take if you want to successfully answer most of the parts of a Casper question. Now, Casper's website is always changing. Since I first wrote the test, the website itself has gone under, I think, 3 or 4 different iterations. So unless they move this is under the Acuity Insights app. This is video-based scenario number 3 entitled Group Contribution, and we're just going to watch the video together first and then we'll answer the questions. Hey everyone, this is just me from the future now editing the video. Listen, in an effort now to avoid copyright on this video, I want it to be up for a really long time and help people in the future. Instead of showing you the official video from the Casper website, I'm going to show you a similar one that can be found on CasperBooster just to avoid copyright. This scenario that you're going to see right now is almost identical to what you'll find on the official Casper website. So we're going to watch this video to avoid copyright, but then we're going to be answering the questions taken officially from the Casper website, and I'll put little screenshots up just so that we're following along. Okay, so back to the video.
I'm so stressed about our history presentation coming up.
Wait, isn't it due in 3 days?
Yes, and Chris hasn't even started his part of the presentation. We all agreed to split the work up equally, but I don't see him making any progress. Have you spoken to him recently?
He sent me a message last night saying that he was sick and that he is unsure if he can get his work done on time.
That's weird. He didn't mention being sick to me. I hope he's doing all right. Wait. Chris just posted a picture of himself on a beach. Look.
What? That is not okay. We shouldn't be penalized for a late submission if he's choosing not to submit his work.
Right. And I don't know if we have enough time to do his part of the presentation. Plus, it's unfair for us since we completed our tasks on time. Should we talk to the professor about this?
So this is a very classic Casper question. You see the ethical, the moral dilemma here, all the different parties involved. And this is one that's been floating around for a while. The first question is, what do you recommend to your group members? So for my answer to this question, I wrote that the most important thing for me to remember when addressing the group is to not make assumptions and to consider everyone's point of view before acting. While the group as a whole is now under increased pressure to complete Chris's part of the assignment, it is very possible that Chris did have a valid reason for exiting the group unexpectedly. A social media post from Chris at the beach may not necessarily provide the entire context of the situation. For example, the picture may have been taken in the past when he was not unwell. In any case, I would recommend that we first try to speak with Chris in a private setting and as a group to ask about how he is feeling. I would suggest that we discuss our difficulties with completing the assignment and ask if it would be possible for Chris to provide any further assistance. Moving forward, if a situation could not be found by speaking with Chris, I would ask the group for their suggestions on how to proceed. Ultimately, the situation may need to be escalated to the professor of the course or a teaching assistant. However, in this case, I would explain to the instructors that the group situation has changed due to circumstances that were beyond our control. I would ask for a timeline extension if possible, or any other solutions that would still allow for us to complete the tasks required on time and help all of the remaining group members to achieve their academic goals. Now, hopefully in my answer, you could see me purposefully trying to incorporate as many of the Casper competencies as I could in answering the question. The very first thing that you want to do for the majority of these Casper questions is acknowledge that you're not going to be jumping to conclusions. You're going to take your time, consider all of the different options from all the different parties involved, and give people the benefit of the doubt, even if the question itself is steering you into a direction of trying to get you to cast blame on another person. It is a trap, do not fall for it, and really try to think things out before you make any decisive action. Now, another thing to note is that the answer that you're seeing up on the screen has been proofread of all spelling mistakes. You guys know, if you've been practicing for Casper, that you are trying your best to answer this question as quickly as possible. Sometimes spelling mistakes happen, and you're not going to lose points on your answer for having a few spelling mistakes here and there, as long as they do not subtract from your communication skills in getting your message across to whoever it is that's reading your answer. Question 2 is a little bit more difficult, deviates a little bit from the standard formula of how you answer a Casper question. This one says, do you think it's okay to report a concern to a supervisor based on suspicion? Why or why not? You could tell how they're trying to trick you or catch you into saying something here. But basically, my answer for this one is that before reporting my concerns to a supervisor, I would first take note of the severity of the concern or situation, any potential consequences of my reporting, and the opinions of all parties involved. While personal suspicions may serve to initially inform me of a potential issue, they must first be validated before proceeding so that I do not act hastily. Reporting concerns is often of the utmost importance to prevent larger unwanted outcomes in the future and to reduce harm. As a result, I would not hesitate to report my concerns to my supervisor if they were substantiated and if it was required for me to do so. However, I must first gather all of the appropriate details and be sure that the concern requires escalation. In many cases, I may also be able to work together with colleagues and team members that are immediately involved in the dilemma to resolve the issue first. If that were to fail, however, then I would have no difficulties with searching for additional supports. I would remain non-accusatory and non-judgmental and would try to work with all involved parties to find the solution. I feel like the trick to answering a question like this, and something that some students might be falling for, is that you do not want to say ever that you would not go to a supervisor to report your concerns. That's the one extreme. On the other hand, you also want to make sure that you're not sounding like you are just going to report anyone that does anything bad without first trying to work things out with them. So the key to answering a question like this is using the Casper competencies and convey the fact that you would not go straight to reporting people. You would be trying to work things out as best as you can, but you're also not afraid to report things to your supervisor if needed, because you are trying to prevent other things from happening in the future that could be even worse than whatever situation you're currently faced with. And don't forget that the question specifies directly whether or not it is okay to report based on suspicion, and therefore your answer needs to incorporate that. Don't forget that that is the central part of this question stem. So now, before we get on to the last part of this particular question, just a quick note from our sponsors, CasperBooster. CasperBooster is a brand new, free, revolutionary resource for students getting ready to write the Casper exam, complete with a variety of perks, including free detailed evaluations from hand-picked Casper experts that all scored in the 4th quartile as soon as you sign up and submit your responses to the CasperBooster website. From my review of the product, it looks like a lot of effort was really put into making sure that the video scenarios and the practice questions and everything else that's provided on the website is as representative of the actual exam as is possible. It looks like they really took their time to make a great resource here. So just to go over a little bit of everything that they have on this resource, there are question banks, marked questions, chapter notes, a study guide, a typing generator, which many of you know just from practicing Casper is not a typing test, but it is never a bad thing to be able to type a little bit faster and communicate the points from inside your head to onto your digital page that you are trying to communicate back and forth with whoever is reading your answer. You only have a limited time to answer the Casper questions, so being able to type faster is always going to be a good thing, and turning it into a game has been pretty helpful for me, even before when I used to practice for answering the Casper questions myself. Now, one thing that I thought was really cool, and I've never actually seen this particular feature for Casper Prep before, is their marked questions part of the website, where basically you take the questions from your question bank and then the things that you got wrong show up again in your marked question section, and in that way it gives you feedback to see the things that you're consistently getting wrong and things that you need to get better. To me, it kind of resembles Anki, and for those of you that have been watching the channel for long enough, you know that I was a really big fan of Anki, especially when first studying in my first 1 to 2 years of medical school. But other than those things, top to bottom, you have the free practice tests, which are 10 free video-based practice questions and 5 written practice questions, which are representative of the exam, and all include the free feedback from the Casper experts that they have with them. Then you have the 10 chapter notes to go over some of the high-yield concepts from the test and different principles that you're going to be tested on for Casper in some situations. Then you have the question banks, and the question banks actually focus on specific chapters and different concepts. Specifically, they're all kind of broken down so you could see and kind of compartmentalize what you are going to be tested on the actual test and see what you're getting wrong afterwards. And finally, for those of you that are interested, there is the free 30-day study guide. Basically breaks down exactly what you should be doing on every single day. For anyone looking for a little bit of help on how to plan a proper study guide, might work for you if you want to give it a try. But no matter what, there's all these different resources here. It's totally free. There's really nothing to lose. You could try it out, and if you like it, go ahead and go through all of the resources on there. I'm also going to go ahead and put a 6-part video series associated with CasperBooster. It's going to be on their website and on their YouTube channel probably. So keep an eye out for that if you're interested. So now back to the regular part of the YouTube video. And finally, question number 3 gives you a little bit of free room to expand and interpret based off of the situation here, going a little bit beyond now to see what your overall thoughts are on a similar but related topic. The question is, do you believe that one false or inappropriate post on social media can have a lasting effect on someone's career? Explain your response. Now, in my answer, I wrote that I believe that social media, like many other tools, can be used both positively and negatively. As the scope of apps like YouTube and Instagram continues to broaden, we have seen many professionals in a variety of different fields attempt to educate, inspire, and advocate to a variety of very large audiences. However, there are sometimes learning pains associated with new technologies, and it is possible for individuals to post inappropriate content, either inadvertently or without the knowledge of how the post would be perceived. A post could be thought of as a lecture or conversation in the digital age. As a result, I believe that we as a public should give creators the benefit of the doubt when it comes to a single inappropriate post on social media, especially if the creator has good intentions. Having said that, however, I must also acknowledge that there are individuals who may find it difficult to forgive others for their mistakes at times. In that regard, it is possible that a single inappropriate post can in fact have long-lasting effects on someone's career. Personally, I do not believe that this should dissuade others from using social media due to the magnitude of the potential positive impact that could be had. Rather than punishing others for inappropriate posts, I believe that we should be educating people on how to properly use social media and should incentivize positive contributions to a large audience. This question in particular was a really good one to hammer out multiple of the Casper competencies. You had collaboration, communication, leadership, empathy, all of these different concepts that you get to talk about here and explain why you should not be quick to put someone down for one inappropriate post, but explain yourself a little bit as well and give up a little bit of ground too, and acknowledge that yes, there are some people sometimes that might look at someone in the wrong light for one inappropriate post, but as a whole, this is how you think that you should be taking the conversation, and you could expand on that in however way that you would like. But alright everyone, that's going to be the video for today. That was my worked example of a real Casper type question taken directly from their website. Let me know what you thought of it. If you want to see more of this stuff in the future, any helpful tips that you've been using to get ready for the Casper yourself, or any ways that you would have tackled this question that maybe was a little bit different than how I answered it. For those of you that are interested, keep a lookout on the CasperBooster website for our video series coming out, the 6-part series going over Casper that's going to be totally free for anyone looking for it. But other than that, we'll see you all in the next one. So everyone take care.